Hello and welcome to Game Day from the UK, another live streaming show from at the Miami Heat UK. For previewing tonight's game against the LA Lakers. I am here with my full squad today. I've got Sam, John, and Danny with me. Sam, how are you, mate? How are you feeling? Bit better now?
Yeah, much better. Thanks. I'm good.
Good stuff. Much better after a Heat win. That's that I'm sure. Danny, how are you, mate?
Yeah, likewise.
Nodding this time. I like it. Last time it was just no words, just a big shake of the head. So that's good stuff. And John, how are you, my man?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Thanks.
Good stuff. So we're in chirpier moods today, much chirpier moods. We finally got a 3 a.m. tip that ended in a W.
Yeah,
and
needed that one.
Needed that one. And it was a good performance. We was just quickly chatting before we went live there, just to say, perhaps not the most glamorous, not the most entertaining, not a classic maybe, but it was what I took from this game is it was a controlled performance, a controlled W. They're a quick team. They're a fun team to watch, the Kings. That's something that doesn't particularly fall into Miami's game plan. And from start to finish, I thought that was the main takeaway from this game, is that we controlled the tempo. That was vital for this W. We didn't hold up much hope before in our predictions. We said that it was more likely to end in a defeat again after disappointing defeats to the Warriors and the Clippers, overtime against the Warriors as well. The Kings were on a very rested period. They hadn't played for about 3 nights, so we didn't hold much hope, but we came away with a W. We got a big lead, and this time we held a big lead. Sam, I'll come to you first. What was your main takeaway? What was your most pleasing thing from the Kings win?
Well, just the fact that it was a win. We've lost so many games in a row. But like I said, it's just long overdue, but I'm not taking much from that win because it's an expected win to the Kings, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's nice to have an additional W, I guess.
Yeah, this is the thing. I spoke last night with Jack Alfonso from Miami Heat Beat, and I asked him that question. We opened that, and his response was, it was a win. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter about the performance. It was a win, and you can't complain about W's at this time of the season. John, same thing to you? Anything in particular that you thought that sort of screamed out to you that you thought, well, that's some positives to take after I said 2 really demoralising defeats?
2 things: that Duncan got back to his usual self, and the fact that we actually kept the lead. Because before, you could have a lead 10-15 with 2 minutes remaining and you'd still be scared. And today it felt like they had the lead and they weren't not going to blow it, so that was good.
Yeah, it was. There was a couple of terrors. They got back to 10, I think, twice, and you thought there's still plenty of time on the clock, and you thought, no, come on, don't do this. But we held on. I think Jimmy Butler's low-scoring triple-double once again, and third consecutive triple-double. I thought he was key to this. He started very quickly, but it was more like the Jimmy of old, Danny, wasn't it? It was drive in, getting contact, back at the free throw line quite a bit. Another great performance from Jimmy.
Yeah, it's a great spirited effort from Jimmy. And I think one big takeaway from this game is that everybody contributed tonight. Or not tonight, sorry, that game. It was an all-round performance from everyone. And you don't often see this Heat team, everyone contributing at a high level like that. We haven't anyway for the past few games. So it was nice to see that everyone contributed, and it was an all-round team effort to get this win.
Yeah, that's another really good point, because we mentioned it, I think, on one of the lives, saying the problem with this Heat team is you sort of rely on Jimmy to score, you rely on Bam to get high teens, early 20s, but then you really need the rest of them to chip in. If they don't, we're not going to win games. And it became a quite convincing win because of that reason. Duncan Robinson knocked down 5 threes. Tyler Herro with 27 points, I think, 27 points. Kelly Olynyk with early 20s as well. So everybody came to the party. It was great to see. Let's talk a little bit about Tyler Herro, Sam. I know you're a big fan, like we all are. Sophomore Tyler Herro with 27 points. This is from his rookie year, 13-4-2, to now, so far this season, 17-6-4. He's taken some big steps.
Yes, he's definitely improved. Well, he did start the season in the starting 5, and he's just dropped off to the secondary unit. But I don't think that's much of a takeaway. And the season's still, I don't want to say the season's still fresh, but we've still got quite a few games to go, and it's just building up from his rookie season. And so far, we've shown pretty much what he's been able to do in the last season. That's expected. We just need him to develop, and
Yeah.
Personally, I just want to see more on the defensive end.
Yeah, I think what's been quite pleasing from what I've seen of Tyler Hero this year. The point guard experiment didn't really work, but it was a bit harsh because he was sort of thrown in. I'm not sure if that was planned to him to be started. Obviously, Dragic has injury worries, Kendrick Nunn out of form, so it's sort of like he was thrown in at the deep end. And since his return to the bench unit, he's been exceptional. But I think one great thing with Tyler is he's adapting his game already. We knew that he was a sniper coming into this league, but his driving to the basket, he's making these layups. He's making difficult contested layups as well. You're sort of getting a bit more confidence the fact that when the ball is in his hand, John, that it's going to make things happen.
Yeah, definitely. He's shown like more flashes from this playoffs performance that he makes like good decisions, whether it's to score or to pass and find the open guy. But I don't think he's still there as a point guard guy. He's a scorer, and he does that well. He can knock down a free or drive, and like you said, make contested difficult layups. He had a hesitation move.
Yeah.
And a layup over Hassan Whiteside, I think.
Yeah, that was good. He's done that a couple of times this year. It's actually why you mentioned, right, why it's fresh in my memory about Hassan Whiteside. Danny, what did you make of Bam dunking all over him?
Beautiful to see, wasn't it?
That was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, I could have watched that all night.
That was good. There seemed like there was a little bit of beef there, and at the end as well. I don't know if you saw this when he was chatting to De'Aaron Fox, and Whiteside comes to sort of greet him, and he just sort of blanks him off. It was like, I mean, we're hoping he was doing a bit of recruiting for us there, on Fox, but I don't know. Is there some sort of bad blood there? Do we think?
It looks like it, doesn't it? I mean, they're not very pally at all. So hey, I'm all for it. That dunk was aggressive, and I loved it. I love aggressive Bam, and that it was on Hassan Whiteside was just even better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was good stuff. One other sort of key element that I thought in this game, we mentioned in the last live again, Kelly Olynyk is either very good or he's very bad. Last time out, he was very good, very, very good. How much was he spurred on, Sam, in the fact that there's potentially a guy he was playing against that might be taking his spot in Belitzer? It was because he was great as well. I think he had a season high 25 points, Belitzer. There was a bit of an audition off going on. What did you make of Kelly?
I was impressed with his performance in the last game. In regards to the competition from Bielitsa, I don't think that played much into it. I've never really had the impression of Kelly Olynyk as someone who just doesn't put his all. Sometimes his all might not be enough in terms of what we need to win a game, but he strikes me as a very professional player. He brings everything he can to each game. But yeah, I was impressed with his performance in the last game, and like I said on a previous pod, his improvement or his performance game to game is quite important to his team's success. Like I said, he stretches the court to give us the ability to play with Bam and Jimmy together on the court. So yeah, when he has good games like that, we can expect wins. So hopefully we get to see more of those.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We've got a comment here from Grant saying, do you think we'll have the same players on the team once the trade deadline ends? Now, we sort of have covered a lot of this in the last couple of games, so I'm going to slightly rephrase Grant's question. Just before I went online with this, I saw something come out, I'm not sure who, from one of the sort of biggish accounts, saying that the Heat could be sellers in this trade deadline in exchange for maybe a first-round pick. John, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that's a Pap kind of move.
Yeah,
I think he's going to go all in, like get players like Jay or Iggy help us win now. I think he would be willing to sacrifice Nunn or Duncan to have a win now play instead of getting picks.
Yeah, Danny, any sort of further thoughts on that? I sort of agree with that. It doesn't really strike me as a Pap move. What do you think? Any other take on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. You see, I've heard quite a few people talking about we could potentially be sellers at the deadline, but I think one thing that I've been hearing some people talk about is the fact that would you potentially trade Goran for a first round pick and start getting assets? And that's when you think basketball wise, that's, I guess it's a smart move because he's an older point guard. So a contender might use him, might need him. Get a first round pick. bundle it up and and bundle all your assets up and try and get a Beal, in the off season. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Pat Riley's quite sentimental these days, and he quite likes the guys that he has. So I think he's, although we don't really want a small trade to just that'll do trade right now, I think that's probably what's coming as a fixed trade right now.
Yeah, that's right. I think that going back to what you just said there, swapping Goran for a first round, that sort of if you took the sentiment out of it and you step back, you're right. You probably do sort of think, well, that sort of does make quite good business sense. But Goran Dragic, apart from UD, obviously is our longest tenured player on this team right now. He's been he's handled everything. He's been a great player for us. He's handled the bench role very well. He's been a great shooter for some of the younger players. So it doesn't really seem like the sort of thing that we would do. I don't think that'll happen, but we'll see. Right, let's come on to the Lakers game. We're playing the LA Lakers tonight. A slightly better time for us at 1:30 a.m. tip. As it stands at the moment, the Lakers are 22-8. That is good for second place in the West. The Heat are now 12-17, which is 10th in the East. We are 5-10 away. The Lakers are 9-5 at home. Last 10, the Heat are 5-5. The Lakers are at 8-2. And the bookies make this quite a close one again. They're saying this is going to be a Lakers -3.5 spread. So they've got this quite close again. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we know that AD is out and potentially LeBron is on a game time decision, so that may change when that gets announced. But first and foremost, Sam, tonight, what's the sort of key matchups here? What are your thoughts? Is this something that we need LeBron to be out if we've got any chance, or do you fancy this now with them losing obviously Anthony Davis for the next few weeks? Do you fancy our chances?
I mean, it's slated to be a big game because obviously it's the rematch from the finals, and these players knew, if anyone knew the effect of losing to the finals, it's these players. So there's definitely some sort of resentment bubbling in them in terms of this game. And I'm hoping that would lead us to a win. But you just don't know with this team. I feel like we just have to take it on a day-by-day basis. Like, it depends. We could come guns blazing and then lose it in the third, or we could just be completely impressive from start to finish. It's just, I don't know. I'm getting the impression from this team that for us to get W's, everything has to be done well. Like, we have a very little margin for error. And when you've got like a little margin for error, it's hard to predict what's going to happen in these games. Yeah,
that's fair enough. And sports fans, they can be quite fickle. I'm one of them. I'm a fickle fan. When things aren't going very well, it looks like that the team's bad and that there's not much to go our way, and you start struggling and wondering what you can do and where you can go. One decent performance, and suddenly, you look at this game and think, well, this is a winnable game again now. As I said, no Anthony Davis. I think they got Schroeder out as well. They're not the in terms of shooting percentage, they are quite low down, although the field goal percentages, they're high up. But 3-point shooting, they're one of the worst in the league. They currently rank 21st, I think. 24th. Their defensive rating is good. They're 105.6 defensive rating. So can we see this, John, being, do you think, a gritty, tightly fought, low-scoring game?
I'll say yes, because I don't think 2 games in a row they'll be scoring 116 again. I think our offense is that good enough. Or we could rely on Bam and Jimmy getting another triple-double. And like Sam said, this team's just a bit confusing now. You can literally go either way. Even LeBron can be out and Kuzma will go off a career high. So
this is true. Danny, what do you make of LeBron? Because his MVP favourite at the moment, as it stands, 18th year. Guy, obviously, that the Miami Heat know well. It's just a different specimen, isn't he? He's playing to some of the best basketball of his career. There's no game plan you can do to stop him, is there? What do you make of, again, what he's done this year? It's just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, that guy's amazing. He doesn't age, does he? I don't know how he does it. But yeah, if he's even if he is playing tonight, I would like to think that like what Sam said, the finals appearance that we had against them. There's a bit of bad blood between these teams, and you would hope that that's going to spur them on. We've been used to playing down to our opponents, but when the big games come, we normally get a good team, a good Heat team, what we're used to. So let's hope that we can get a good version of this Heat team again, off a win. Hopefully that spurred them on. And let's see if we can get a win. I'm hopeful this time.
Yeah, I am. I said it's amazing what one win can do. So, I mean, that's what sort of makes it so frustrating about those two games that slipped away, because, you could almost, we would have all looked at this game on paper before we went out west and said, okay, well, you expect that to be an L. We've now got to, if we're going to come away with a winning record, which we could still do, we've got to win this game and then against the Thunder as well. That's what makes that infuriating, as I said, those two defeats, because that could have been such a successful road trip. Sam, if I could offer you 1-1 now with Lakers and Thunder in our last two games, would you take that?
Yeah, I'd take that. I'd push for 2-0, but I'll take a 1-1 with the sort of season we're having. Yeah, 1-1's acceptable. Yeah.
Any thoughts on that, John? Do you think that? As I said, if someone just said, okay, you leave that group now, you take that win against the Thunder, and that's not a foregone conclusion as well. I'm not doing them any disrespect, but if someone just said, right, okay, you finish that 1-1 now, would you take that, or would you say no, we're going to go for the 2 wins?
I'll take the 1-1 and be safe.
Yeah, I think that's fair, isn't it, Danny? You could complete with that.
Yeah, beggars can't be choosers at this point, can they?
This is it. Okay. One other thing, Kendrick Nunn, Sam, he's been sneaky good these last few games. Again, another
at the start of the season.
Yeah, this is again last time out. I call it a subtle 16 points. I don't think there's anything as pleasing as seeing Kendrick Nunn when he's in rhythm. We know what his bread and butter is. He can shoot. He's got a nice stroke. His form looks good. He's quite athletic. Kendrick, who was a nothing piece in this rotation, has now become again a really solid performer. Now, do we keep him in this starting lineup? Do we whilst it's not broke, do we not try and fix it? Or if Goran comes back all guns blazing, do we make that change?
He's been consistent over the past few games, and just thinking back to last season, it was because he started in the point guard position and contributed. He contributed sufficiently that gave the Heat the edge that we had in the last season. So I'm not expecting Goran Dragic to come back and change that, but still expecting some input for Dragic off the bench when he comes.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been great to see Kendrick back, because let's have it right. We need his points, because if he's not contributing, if he's not in the rotation, if he's not a factor, you struggle to find where we get these scorers from. Just going back to the last game very quickly after that win, Butler was on the microphone straight after the win, and he was saying that at the moment, this team is a good team. We're just not playing like a good team at the moment. John, that really rings true, doesn't it? That's the right attitude right now.
Yeah, definitely is. I still don't think it's fair to judge this team until they're fully healthy with Bradley and Dragic. And it's like, I don't think it's what was I going to say? I think we underestimate how much like Dragic could impact this game as well. Like you said, off the bench, we don't have another guy that could score points unless we rely on Gabe Vincent. Yeah. And Dragic would probably help that. Bradley would help the defense. So I think we still need to wait until they're fully healthy to see that they're actually a good team.
Yeah. So, go on.
Yeah, I think the problem there is we knew from the start of the season what we were going to get from Goran Dragic and Avery Bradley to an extent, because Dragic's not getting any older, and Avery Bradley's been injury prone for quite a few seasons. I mean, last season he was fairly healthy, but I mean, I think we all as a fan base just kind of expected the absolute best in terms of every single area, and reality's hitting us right now, and we're just confused.
Yeah, I think that it was the fact that Dragic was so good in the bubble and in the up until the finals run, when obviously just before he got injured, he was probably our best player in the bubble. So you sort of forget that that's a lot to ask. That's a lot to ask for a guy his age and expecting to keep doing that. So Going back to the finals, then obviously it's a repeat of last year's finals. At full health, Danny, do the Heat win that series? Or is that just bitter Heat fan?
I saw the poll that 5RSM put on Twitter, and I voted Lakers in 7.
Same.
It was tough. It was tough because the Heat fan in me wanted to say win a championship. Yeah, it's a difficult one. But yeah, I'd say Lakers in 7. But I think that, like, you know, if it went to 7, you know, it would still, you know, it'd be heartbreaking. But you know, we would have gave it everything. And yeah, I just ultimately don't think that this team had just enough to lift the title. I still think we're a piece away.
Yeah, see, I totally agree. I voted the same, Lakers in 7. The reason being is because you have to remember how much effort, how much every single drop of sweat went out in those games just to take it to 6. We needed absolute heroics from Jimmy Butler twice to get that to 6 games. So if he was at full health, you know, you might not have got those sort of games from Jimmy. So it's very easy to just say, yeah, okay, if we would have had Bam and Goran in, we would have won. But that's probably not the case. I think we would have made it closer. The final game, obviously, that ended up being a blowout win for the Lakers, probably would have been a lot closer. But yeah, I think it might be a little bit of homerism if you're going to go and say, yeah, we would have took the finals there. But we will never know. We will never know. So before I let you all go, let's go around the table. Tonight's tough game against a good team. Let's say LeBron is in, because I think if LeBron is out, then there's a very good chance that we take this W. But let's go around. Let's say LeBron's in. What do we think, Sam? We're taking a win tonight?
Yes. I want to say it'll be not a convincing win, but maybe
we'll take it.
Points, I guess.
We'll take it. We'll take the scrappiest win. It wouldn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's convincing or not.
Team, we're due a surprising win. I feel like we haven't had that in a while.
Yeah, very
this
true.
Is true.
Yeah, John, what do you think? A win tonight or no chance?
Like always, I'm saying a win.
Oh, loving this. Good man. Danny, are you going free?
I've got to bring it back down to reality, don't I? I'm going to say L, but you know, it's just yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to say L.
Yeah, look, you're being sensible. This is it. And we are, as of yet, we have not had a majority go for the win. I think we've always had us voting for the L. So we couldn't have been playing the LA Lakers, who are second in the West, and we couldn't have that being a full round, full house Heat win.
Exactly.
So listen, I've said that I'm a fickle Heat fan. I'm saying after being quite disgraced at some of our performances out West, very annoying. Performances after a good win, I think that we've got enough to turn this around. So I'm going to go with a very low scoring, tight 96-95 Miami Heat win tonight. So I've even named the score. There we go. There we are. Right, that's great stuff, guys. We will leave it there. Enjoy the game. Another late one, not as late, but 1:30 start, and then we finish up the road trip day after next against the OKC Thunder. So we're going for a positive record here. We're going to go for 4-3 out West. It's doable. Let's try and do it again. Thanks for everyone that's watching. You can catch this on our YouTube channel. Join us tonight at the Miami Heat UK for the live commentary and jump in and comment along with me. It always makes it a bit more entertaining for me when I'm tweeting on my own that sort of time at night. But enjoy the game. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we will see you next time at Game Day from the UK. Thanks a lot, guys.